So in late August, I traveled thousands of miles to take a portrait of somebody. And here's why. What's up? If you don't know me, my name is Chris Tellez. I'm a photographer and videographer based in Ontario, Canada. I mainly shoot portraits, events, and weddings. A few years ago, I came up with a list of people that I want to photograph. These are people that have meant a lot to me, people that have shaped who I am and what it is I'm trying to do with my photography. Interestingly, I think only one of them is a photographer. Mostly they're people like musicians, spiritual teachers, people who have spoken to me in some way that helps me to better understand humanity, better understand myself, and I think have made me a better person and a better photographer because of that. So I had this list, and I to be honest, had no idea how I was gonna make it happen. And I started with a big one, too. I started with a big name that a lot of people know, and I have a video about that, and you can watch it here. But this one that we're talking about today, this is a really special one. This is a guy named Rob Bell. Now, if you know Rob Bell, he's kind of one of those like if you know people. And the fact that I wanted to take his portrait probably tells you that if you know what side of you know I'm on. What did I just say? Rob is an interesting character. He's a pivotal character. He's helped a lot of people with their faith and with their understanding of who they are and their spirituality, myself included. So he was very high up on the list for me, but I don't know. How do you make something like that happen? Well, it turns out you just send an email, and that's kind of it. Well, not really. Okay. So here's what happened. I sent an email out saying, hey, I would love to take your photograph. I don't know how, I don't know where, I don't know when, but it's something I really want to do. You have these upcoming workshops. If you want them photographed, let me know. That would be great. Didn't expect to really hear anything, but I did. I heard back, and he said no. That's right. The Rob Bell said no, which is cool, which is a bummer, but which is cool because I actually heard from the real Rob Bell, not just some assistant or something like that. Basically, these workshops were a little too intimate to have somebody photograph them. They were meant to really help people with their creative practice, and having somebody there doing what I do might just mess it all up. Fair enough. I let it sit. I said thank you, and that's that. But fast forward another year, and here we are in July of 2025, and Rob Bell is announcing his 400th podcast episode, a live episode. That means there's an audience. That means there's a need for photographs. That means I should email Rob back and see what he has to say, right? Or no, is that crazy? Well, I did it. And guess what? He said okay. It was that simple. Sometimes it's that simple. Why is it sometimes that simple and some things are not that simple? Some things are so freaking hard, but some things are simple. Not necessarily easy, but simple. I emailed him. I said, I would love to take some photos of you. Let me know. He said, sure, show up. And then I said, great. But that meant I had to fly to California. I had to rent a car. I had to rent a hotel. I had to figure all that kind of stuff out just to get there. And, well, okay, let's cut to Chris from August, and he'll tell you a little bit about that.
I'm sorry. Like, sir?
That was supposed to be like a cute little montage of traveling, and like all of a sudden 5 seconds later I'm in LA. Didn't happen that way because my flight got canceled, unfortunately, which meant that I got here at 8 a.m. and it is now 6:05 p.m. I'm about to board, I think. Okay, so we're here in Ojai, California, which might be like a little bit of a paradise, I don't know. And it might seem weird, middle of wedding season, for me to just pick up everything and go to pretty much as far away as I can from my home while still, being in at least the United States. And what am I doing here? So I'm trying to figure out how to tell this story. And the reality is that in order for me to be able to sort of express why I wanted to take these photos, you would have to know a lot more about my background and my history with spirituality and with my sort of coming to my own understanding of my faith, which is something I don't really talk about on YouTube all that much, namely because I think it can be very easily turned into something that it's not, and frankly that's just not the purpose of this channel. But what I can say for sure, I just watched a guy drop a grate. What I can say for sure is that my hopes for any of the photographs that I take is that they will allow me to get a little bit closer to the feeling of unity and oneness with the creator, with the universe, whatever you want to call it. That is the hope. And by photographing people who I feel like are on a similar path, whether they're ahead or behind or whatever, or even people who are on a diametrically opposed path, it helps me to better understand that. And so that is one of the reasons why I'm so excited to photograph Rob doing his thing. And the other thing is that when people are doing their thing, they're very special. And this is his thing. Is a podcast his thing? No, not necessarily, but connection with people in this way is his thing. And so I'm really excited for that.
See, I thought when they were taking down the sign today, they were going to put up something that said Rob Bell. And they didn't, which makes this less exciting for the video. But hey, we got to California, right? We're there. We're in this beautiful little town that he lives in of Ojai. And it was a very exciting moment when I got to walk into that theater. And I walked in and I said, hey, and the guy working there said, what are you doing here? Get out, we're not open. And I said, but wait, Rob is expecting me. Rob Bell is expecting me. This guy, Rob Bell's expecting me. That's a crazy sentence. So I went into the auditorium and there he is, hanging out on stage with his mom, chatting, doing sound check. And I show up and it's like, it's no big deal. I'm just a guy there. And that was the cool thing about the entire experience, is that I was just a guy there. I was just a person and he was just a person. And that's all it had to be. So I started taking some photos of the sound check just to kind of like be there, let it be known I'm the guy who takes photos. We chatted a little bit and then I said, hey Rob, do you have 5 minutes? Can I take you outside for some photos? And he said, sure. And we walked outside and I had 5 minutes at the side of a building with him, and you just got to do what you can do. I couldn't set anything up. I couldn't really do much other than say, sit here, look at the camera, be a little more serious, smile because your mom was here and she said you should smile more, and then let's go stand over here for a minute. Let's go sit over on a loading dock. That's all you can do. Now looking at these photos, are they the most incredible portraits I've ever taken? Of course not, no. But they're meaningful. They mean something to me. I was able to take what I do and infuse something that matters so deeply to me, a person that I really care about, that's really shaped who I am, into my art. And that's so fucking cool, I cannot describe how exciting that is for me. And I'm making this because I think it's important that when we're doing the things that we're doing, you know, when we're hustling for our business, for YouTube, for whatever, that we look at the bigger picture and we say to ourselves, what is it I'm trying to do here? And to be honest, I've tried making this video like 5 times over the past few months and it just hasn't stuck. And the reason it stuck this time is because I got a comment on a YouTube video yesterday that messed with me. The guy said, so you're really more of a gear guy, huh? That hurt. Oh, that fucking hurt. Because he's wrong, but he's right. He's right, but he's wrong. Here's the thing. I responded and I gave a response, but I'll sum it up here. On YouTube, I'm kind of a gear guy. I kind of talk about gear a lot, don't I? Too much, maybe. Too much. But outside of that, I'm not really a gear guy. Like I have the same group of cameras that I use all the time, the same few lenses, and those are the ones that I brought with me when I actually went to Ojai to photograph Rob. And I like gear, it's fun, it's interesting. I review gear because it does well and because people are interested, and you might as well have somebody who actually uses the gear for professional work talk to you about it than somebody who doesn't, I guess. But it's all a means to an end. And the end of it all is that I want to photograph things that matter, and I want to do the things that matter to me the most. Things that matter to me the most are my family, my friends, my spiritual life, the people in front of my camera, the opportunities that I can get because of my camera, and bring that all to you. And so if you're somebody who has a big project that you want to do and you don't know where to start, just, I don't know, send an email to Rob Bell maybe? No, that doesn't make any sense. But I guess what I'm trying to say is that there is a deeper meaning to all of this. There's a deeper meaning to why we do the things we do and why we put ourselves out there in certain ways. And so when somebody hits you with something so honest and poignant, like, you're really more of a gear guy, huh? It fucks with you a bit. And it's hard and it's difficult, but it reminds you of what's important. And it reminded me that this was a story I needed to tell. So thank you to that gentleman. Thank you for watching this, and go out there and find your Rob Bell, I guess. What? does that mean? Go out there and create. I'm gonna work on my next guy, who's Josh Ritter, by the way. I'm trying to get him in front of my camera. So if you know him, send this to him. If you don't know him, send this to him. Peace.
I went through like 14 hours of travel yesterday just to get here, to the Ojai Playhouse, so that I could photograph somebody who has meant the world to me. It's pretty fucking cool. It's a pretty big deal, and I'm gonna take you on that little journey.